Arizona sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
The All-Star break has arrived in the NBA, and for the tortured, toxic, tormented Suns fans, it's more like, give me a break, because our second shot at redemption is a super team that is currently underwater, 2 games under 500. And you remember how bad last year felt? Well, this time last year, the Suns were 11 games over 500. Even worse, in a league where analytics say you need 44 wins to make the playoffs, the Suns would have to finish 18-10 to make that happen. And after a night when Mike Budenholzer turned to G League imports, you wonder if this team has already shifted into evaluation mode. And the hits keep coming because trading Kevin Durant now feels like a certainty this offseason. Devin Booker has regressed the past 2 years, and Bradley Beal cannot be traded without his permission. And at some point, I really wonder if Matt Ishbia asks himself, why did I think that contract was a good deal when nobody else in the NBA would touch it? Either way, Ishbia is paying more for the Suns' payroll than the owners of the Dodgers are paying for their entire baseball team. And we're talking about a team that doesn't play hard, doesn't defend, and seems to have tuned out another head coach. And the bottom line, they are a team trending towards the worst super team ever assembled. All right, today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW, who make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
Yeah, he's probably going to get traded this summer. He knows it. The Suns know it. The rest of the league know it. They're going to enjoy him while they have him. It's not really controversial, in all honesty. They're under 500. They've got a $230 million payroll. Then add about over $100 million in tax on that. Hembo was showing me some stats earlier. He's played almost 1,500 minutes this year, and he's +2 on the court in those 1,500 minutes. So you have an extremely expensive team that is not winning, and the player that is their most expensive player who is playing great but not impacting them on a positive level. You do not need a high-level analyst to tell you that they probably need to trade him, which is why they were exploring the trade market for him. And while I would never make an ironclad prediction, I would expect this summer for Durant and the Suns to work together to find a new home. He has 1 year left on his contract, which will give him some control as to where that will be.
That is Brian Windhorst talking about Kevin Durant. That does seem to have kind of morphed into that's going to happen. It's going to happen. And that's really no surprise to anybody, as Brian Windhorst said, and it's not necessarily controversial either. It's not working. That stat he threw out there blew my mind, that of all the minutes he has played, they're +2 with him on the court.
Yeah,
2.
I mean, they're a 26-28 basketball team. It's kind of sad in a way in terms of the way we feel as a fan base and a media contingent, because expectations were so high and you thought this team going into last year had a chance to win a championship. And in terms of the inevitability of Durant getting traded, Bick, whether or not Mike Budenholzer's the right guy or not, you can't just throw another coaching change at this thing and say, run it back, boys. I mean, we've reached the point now, especially if this team finishes with 36, 38, 40 wins. There's I don't know what the only other course of action is either you somehow convince Bradley Beal to waive the no trade, and maybe a team needs a starting 2-guard that could score 20-plus points a game. I don't think that team is out there.
Neither do I.
And the other option would be to trade Devin Booker and keep Durant. And good luck with the fan base if you do that.
In that situation. Yeah, and that's not going to happen either. I think the bigger discussion, and it's not for today, is whether or not tearing it down to the studs, given who Devin Booker is at this point and projecting what he's going to be in the next few years, whether that's smart. But again, I don't think that's conversation is today. I think that's somewhere down the road. So I think last night watching this team, as I've said before, going to Ty Washington, going to Colin Gillespie, I can't imagine how that is resonating inside the locker room where guys like Monte Morris and, like I said, Damian Lee and Ryan Dunn, who granted is dealing with the foot injury also, I can only imagine what they're thinking. You think they're better than me? And I can only think about what impact that's having, but you're exactly right. Even if even if Mike Budenholzer has lost this team or never had this team, could you imagine the optics of changing coaches again?
They're in optics jail. They're in optics jail.
That's a good term.
I mean, there's just, unless, well, I mean, it would have to be, you'd have to package it up as a complete and total overhaul.
Mm-hmm.
We're trading Kevin Durant. We're going to build for the future. We thank Mike for coming in and trying to make this work. We're gonna get a younger, whatever, however you want to spin it.
Yep.
It would have to be a coaching change would have to be a small part of a grand plan, rather than like, nope, the coach didn't work. Throw another coach at these guys. You just can't do that.
I don't think any franchise has ever had 4 head coaches in 4 years.
I don't either.
Where there wasn't a midseason change and there was an interim involved. This would be 4 hires and firings at the beginning of a year.
It would make the credibility crisis of this leadership group that they're experiencing now from the fan base exponentially worse. Like,
And they know it.
It would also mean that 3 of the last 4 Suns head coaches were one and done. With Igor and...
Well, and then you talk about the super team with Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker. They were swept out of the playoffs last year. Can you imagine if they don't even make the playoffs this year?
Well,
for the money you're paying for that team?
That's the thing. Now, when I say they know it, Matt Ishbia knows this as well. You're a second apron team, and your payroll's over $330 million when you factor in the tax. You're a second apron team, and not only can you not compete for a championship, you can't even make the playoffs. That's abject failure.
It's
and it's embarrassing.
And getting worse each year in the Kevin Durant era. Second round, first round, not making the playoffs.
And again, I say that Matt Ishbia and Josh Bartlestein and James Jones, they know that as well.
Yes, they do.
And it's incumbent upon them now to fix this. They tried, man. They tried. They tried. It became really tough. First of all, Bradley Beal can't stay on the court. Devin Booker really couldn't excel and be Devin Booker playing point guard. That didn't work. That they tried that, and then the hurdles in building a roster around those guys when they make that much money.
Yeah,
you got to get really lucky, and it hadn't happened.
I know when it came to Jimmy Butler, I was waffling so much I really needed like a quart of log cabin syrup next to me. But watching him play, sorry, Jared, I know that's bad. Watching what he has brought Golden State, you just wonder if that would have been a piece that would have unlocked everything.
It would have. Talk about a toughness and an edge and a guy doing the little things and the dirty things. I mean, he's filling the stat sheet in Golden State.
He's getting to the free throw line.
But it's such an unfair even thing to conceptualize because he'd be replacing a person who doesn't play at all, Bradley Beal. So, of course, it would be better just to have someone who's playing a star.
But even when Beal's on the court.
I mean, having that leader, that guy that's going to make everybody care or punch them in the face.
Also, positional continuity. He's a small forward. Booker can just play the 2.
Now I'm bummed out, Jarrett. It's all your fault.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.